Let me try this again. Hello, hello, and welcome to the Farmacy Seeds Network. Thank you, Kirsten, for the mute and Geeky Gardens. Appreciate that. I got a lot of things in my mind here, so not paying too much attention to detail at the moment, but should be good to go now. Hopefully we have good audio. Anyway, without further ado, we'll see if we can bring any check-ins here on this holiday weekend. It's kind of an in-between period. Yeah, I know I'm picking up. I've taken over Brent's muting technique for live streams. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and start the net, and I appreciate everyone who's come in. I do want to greet everyone who came in here. Let's see. Quebec Homestead, Kirsten Lee, so much Jake, and Geeky Gardens, I think I've seen so far. So welcome everyone, hello, and glad you came in. Hopefully the stream is still working, because YouTube's telling me I'm not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming, so we'll see. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get started. This is KD2IIN Net Control for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. The Sunday Night All Things Natural Net is an amateur radio net sponsored by the Overlook Mountain Amateur Radio Club here in the Hudson Valley, and it's dedicated to farming, gardening, ecology, and so much more. Without further ado, let's go ahead and see if there's any check-ins. This is KD2IIN Net Control looking for check-ins for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. Hello, Marie. Might be another quiet night. Oh, there's somebody. Is that Ken?
KD2, US, Ken, juggling my chai.
Nice.
This is
Ah, it's KD2 RFI.
Kilo Delta 2, Romeo Foxtrot India, KD2 RFI, Bob.
Let me turn that radio up a little bit. Alright, well so far the net recognizes KD2 TQS, Ken, juggling his chai. Sounds like you're still getting settled in position. And also KD2 RFI, Bob. Good to hear you in here as well. Let's just do one more opportunity for check-ins and then we'll go ahead and get started. Is there anyone else who'd like to check in? Please call now. Get your ham on. Carve it up and throw down some eggs. Alright, no further check-ins recognized at this time. We'll start at the top of the list. KD2 TQS. How are you this evening, Ken? Sounds like you got your chai ready to go. Are you headed for the back porch? Okay, I got a lot of static, a couple of glitches in and out. I did manage to catch something about chai in there, but your signal's a bit depreciated. I want to see if you can adjust your antenna there, and I'll give you a moment to do that, and I'll roll on down and say hello to Bob, and then we'll come back around to you. Alright, let's roll on down to KD2 RFI. Bob, how you doing?
Yeah, KD2 RFI, good evening. Everything's going good on this end. Actually able to get outside and get a little work done around the house today with the beautiful weather. So everything's going well.
Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. Sounds like you're fully over your sickness there, so that's good. And probably feels good to get back outside and get back to work, huh? Brie and cheesecake. That sounds good.
Most definitely, most definitely. I am back. Pretty much almost 100%. So sickness-wise, I'm 100% over that. But just getting back into physical shape of where I should be from where I started 2 months ago. I got to get back up and running again, but we're doing real well.
Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. Yeah, I know you've been over a few medical hurdles lately, so that's good. And I don't know if you got a chance to get back out and finish buttoning up beehives yet. I know I haven't yet.
Yeah, that was kind of on the to-do list, and I kind of forgot to do it today. It was a nice weather. I just had to get in and pick up another
yeah, I did see it's going to be mild this week, and that's a little bit of a relief for me as well. I went out this evening and did some, I started to do some chainsaw work, cutting up a few more logs, kind of get stocked up for the week on chunks, and found out the clutch is going in the saw, so I got to get a new clutch in and get that changed out. But anyway, I guess we'll roll through the stumbling blocks and carry on. All right, hopefully Ken's had a chance to straighten out his antenna situation and get settled and get a few sips of his chai in, so we'll roll back up to him, and then we'll do another opportunity for check-ins as we come back down through the list. KD2 TQS, how you making out over there? Yeah, that was some ham.
Good question.
Kiki.
How's my signal?
Nice and clean now.
Got rid of the quarter waves and flipped back to the Zephyr, so that should make the difference. Now for the chai.
Very good, very good. Yeah, I got a nice fresh cup of coffee here with me myself, and I finally got around to drilling a hole through the window frame here so I can bring in the coax in and run these nets without freezing my tuchus off.
MSJ makes a nice window board. Comes 48 inches wide, cedar, and it's got multiple ports right through it. UHF, hardwire, long wire rather, a variety of boards. Cut it to size, slide it in like you would an air conditioner, and it seals up right around it. So you might want to consider that option.
I'll keep it in mind. I'm not quite that complex about it. I just wanted less than an inch gap of open window with cold air flowing in. But yeah. All right, well, let's just do a quick opportunity for check-ins here for any latecomers, and then we'll roll on down to Bob, and we'll just carry on with the net. So if there's any further check-ins, I don't know. This is KD2I and Net Control for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. If there's any further check-ins, please call now. All right, no further check-ins recognized, so we'll roll on down to Bob, KD2 RFI.
Kitty 2 RFI. Yeah, not a whole lot more that's pretty much happened this week. It's been a up and down kind of week overall. I did get out and I played with that new 94cc saw I have. I was cutting up some big maple rounds and splitting them up today. So we spent a lot of time outside, which was nice. Got a lot of wood split. My family had a really good Christmas overall. Girls came over and grandkids.
Hey, Jarvis. Hey, YT.
Very happy, so it was good. It was good. I'm sitting here drinking, you said you had your bourbon, and the gentleman has his chai, or excuse me, you had coffee,
Yeah.
the other gentleman had his chai, and I got bourbon on the brain because that's what I'm sitting here sipping. So it's a nice relaxing evening, all's well. Downside of it is my friend of mine lost his wife on Thanksgiving morning, unfortunately, so that was something we were dealing with yesterday. Stopped over to see him and so on. We'll just keep in touch and see how things go. It's never easy to lose somebody. It's even worse on the holidays. I lost my sister years ago on December 23rd, so it's never easy no matter when it happens. But other than that, like I said, it's been up down week and everything's pretty good. This whole COVID thing's driving us nuts. I got my computer. I'm trying to watch the live stream in the background, but I'm gonna have to mute it. It's probably coming over, maybe, I don't know. But this COVID thing is just nuts. They're telling us at work now that if we come in contact with somebody who's had COVID, I don't think it applies to me because I've already had it. But if we come into contact with somebody, we have to go home and quarantine, but they still expect us to show up at work. And then they present us with a piece of paper to sign agreeing to the terms. I kind of looked at my supervisor and laughed at him and said, you want to pay me 16 hours overtime every day that I'm sitting home? I have no problem. I'll stay at my home. But until that happens, you will not tell me what I'm going to do at my home. So, especially when you tell me I got to come to work. So it's kind of crazy. Nobody knows what they're doing. Nobody knows the else has their rules, and obviously my employer has their own rules. So, needless to say, I'm not getting paid 16 hours overtime, which would have been really nice. So, anyway, that's pretty much it on this end. I'm just kind of rambling on at this point, so I'll send it back to you, CJ. Kitty2, RFI, back in there.
All right, very good, Bob. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear about your loss there, and I know you lost somebody else earlier this year, back in the spring. I forget who it was, but I know it was a close friend or family member, and yeah, it seems like it's been a tough year for that, and yeah, this whole you can't seem to get a straight answer from anybody, and they give you instructions that directly conflict with each other, and like. There seems to be a lack of critical thinking skills. What a mess. What a mess. But I'm glad you're at least healing up and doing okay. And, I guess all we can do is carry on, right? And yeah, you're right. It's never easy to lose someone. I lost my brother back in 1999, and that was not easy for sure. And I think you're right. I think it doesn't matter when it happens, but certainly the holidays don't make it any easier, that's for sure. Anyway, let's roll on down to Ken, KD2 TQS. What you got for us, Ken?
All depends what you want. That's a dangerous question. I usually try to refrain from it. But I will say I'm considering a redo. Try is good, but bourbon. I never thought about that one. That might be a good option. Back to that.
That was the other thing I forgot in my response. Yeah, I was going to say, Bob, I'll trade you my coffee for your bourbon tonight. That sounds good. All right, well, let's just see if there's any further check-ins, and then we'll carry on. This is KD2 IIN Net Control for the Sunday night All Things Natural Net. If there's any further check-ins, please call now. Hello, Hypnosis and Magic. Welcome. All right, looks like no further check-ins. Well, let's see. I guess we'll roll back over to Bob, KD2 RFI. This is going to be a short net.
Well, CJ, I gotta say, I absolutely do love a good cup of coffee. Lately I've been drinking the Black Rifle coffee. It's Beyond Black is the specific
Thanks, Hypnosis.
blend, and it's absolutely phenomenal. It's also absolutely expensive, so, but I kind of cheat. The way I set it up is so on payday, I have direct deposit, and I set it up so every 2 weeks I get automatic delivery, and they bill my account on payday, so I don't even really notice it missing, so it's not too bad. Makes it more affordable as long as I don't think about it, I suppose. But it's very good coffee. Nothing beats a good cup of coffee, unless it's a good cup of coffee with a touch of bourbon in it. So just saying, put it out there. All right, I'll send it back to you, CJ. Getting to RFI.
KD2 IIN Net Control for the Sunday night All Things Natural Net. Well, I can't disagree with you there. That's kind of like peanut butter and chocolate, right? Bourbon and coffee, two great tastes that go great together. Yeah, I get fresh coffee from the local coffee shop here, and one of these days, if you're over this way, we'll have to hook you up with some of that, because that is delicious as well. Yeah, it's fantastic. All right, well, let's roll it back on up to Ken, KD2 TQS, and I will try not to ask you any loaded questions. I don't want to get you, I don't want to coax you into getting yourself into trouble, I'll put it that way. Over to you, Ken.
Yeah, that's dangerous under normal circumstances. In a bit of a chaotic phase of the brain is even more ping-pongish or pinballish than normal, so we'll keep it contained. I'm sitting here just ruminating between the two tastes in my mouth and trying to figure out what that would be like. Theoretical knowledge is good, but nothing beats practical experience, so there might be a field trip coming up on this one. Back to that.
Fair enough, fair enough. Well, I don't know if you guys have any topics you want to discuss tonight, but certainly the floor is wide open, and I don't have any great ideas off the top of my head. I think my processor's been in overload lately, so I don't know, I'm just going to roll on down to Bob, KD2 RFI.
KD2 RFI. Yeah, no, it's, I really got nothing in mind either. it's just been one of those weeks. I've been all over the map pretty much this week between, work and stuff going on here and everything else, and the weather and the snow, and luckily all the snow's gone. But
chai suggestions, I'll ask.
Yeah.
Thanks, YT.
Really not too sure. I was out today a little bit with it, like I said, with the tractor and the saw, and if I ever get over that week again, CJ, remind me. I'll bring the saw over, and it's kind of my pride and joy. I bought it this past spring at 395 XP, and it's just an amazing saw. Amazing. Just tons of power. Sounds like a little dirt bike. And it's actually got a bigger motor on my first dirt bike, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But man, it cuts phenomenal. So if you've got any logs up this summer, we'll go over and play with it, and play with the bees a little bit. Definitely with coffee. Like I said, I'd be more than happy to try a cup of coffee at a local shop. Nothing beats a good cup of coffee. It doesn't really matter the time of day either, really, for me. I just absolutely love it. But I did get caught up finally on some of your videos regarding the greenhouse, so definitely give me a lot of good ideas and a lot of good information there. So I'm definitely going to be looking forward to, probably won't get a greenhouse up this summer, but hopefully the following summer I'll be able to put a greenhouse up around and hopefully extend my growing season and start planning for the future and keeping everyone fed and getting one step closer to being self-sufficient. That would be really nice. So I love your videos. I really do. A lot of really good information, and you have a lot of good, technical information. It's all in the details. It's all in the details. You tend to bring that out in your videos, so I appreciate it. So we're definitely learning a lot from that. All right, I'll send it back to you, Kitty2, RFI.
Very good, Bob. Well, thank you for the kind words and compliments. I appreciate it, and I'm glad I'm able to help bring some details out and get into some of the technical specifics. And I'd be curious to hear as you look forward to your greenhouse project more how that idea evolves for you. And that was one of the things I meant to mention. That saw is a monster. I think you said 95 cc. I think the one we have over at the other place I work is, I think that's in the 80 cc range. It might be a little bit smaller than that, but that thing is a beast too. Man, what an awesome saw when you go into a log and that thing just rips through it in seconds. Really amazing. The one downside I find of those is if you're working with them all day, man, it's a lot of saw to be lifting and lugging all day. But it's a good workout. And boy, it sure beats a little dinky saw, but you're there for 10 minutes trying to cut through a 16, 18, 20-inch log. So that sounds like a lot of fun. If you end up bringing that over the summer, we can play bees and chainsaws and tractors. Let's see. Let's just take a pause and do an opportunity for check-ins here. This is KD2 and Net Control for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. If there are any further check-ins, please call now. All right, no further check-ins recognized at this time. And I do have a question from the chat here from YTFP Chris. He was asking if you have any chai suggestions there, Ken.
Dang. And I thought we were going to keep it safe tonight. Chai is an art by itself. And it boils down to what feels best for you. What most people don't realize is there's no such thing as a chai latte. If it's not served with milk, it's not chai. Because chai originally was a medicinal drink in the Himalayas.
Yep.
That was given to people recuperating that didn't have enough energy to take normal nutrition. They gave them a drink that was milk-based, to give them the protein and calories of that, threw in a lot of honey to give them the extra calories, and then the spices in the tea were mixed according to the medicinal needs of the person at the time. So chais vary all over the place, and it all depends upon your taste. One of the ones that I do routinely, not the one I'm drinking on Sunday nights, that's a little bit different, but I like to stash chais. They have both a regular black and a green tea. And the green tea one was great when I was working the ER. I could sip that throughout the whole shift and still have enough solidity of a drink that was really good. But try a variety and find the one that you like the best. Back to that.
Very good, Ken. I knew that answer would not be a simple one, but yeah, I've had some really good chai in milk, and that's really how I prefer it. And I've had some water-based versions too, and I do still like the flavor of most of those, but they just don't have that same I don't know, depth of flavor, or I don't know, that filling feeling, I guess, that you get out of a good milk-based chai. And I'm trying to think. I think it might be Taste Buds in town that used to have a really good milk-based chai. But yeah, fantastic stuff. And YTFP Chris is good. Never heard of Stash, so I will have to look into it. And he thanks you for the information. And that's interesting. I didn't realize that came from the Himalayas. I guess that makes a lot of sense. The especially with the fat and the protein in the milk there. And then of course you would tune that medicinal blend to fit the patient's needs. So glad you dialed into that point. Greatly appreciated. All right, let's roll on down to Bob, KD2 RFI. Cha-cha.
So I'm assuming Dunkin'
Hey,
Donuts
Cha-cha.
chai latte is just a fake pen.
Yeah.
My mother's gonna be really disappointed, but she actually absolutely loves those. Every time I go, I give her a chai latte. So bring it with me, and she's more than happy to drink it. But I guess we'll just have to keep that here, that Dunkin' Donuts doesn't have a real chai.
Hey, Chashers.
Anyway, yeah, that Saul's a monster, and other than carrying around all day long and tiring out real quick, it uses a lot of fuel. You definitely go through a lot of fuel. I use the Husqvarna fuel because I do a lot of cutting, but I don't do I'm not doing it like commercially or whatever, so I'm not using a whole lot of fuel through the saw, so to speak. So I buy the Husqvarna premix fuel. It's more expensive, but it definitely treats your saws a lot better with a lot of this crud that they have in the modern fuels these days. So if I ever get doing it commercially, I'll switch over to pump gas and then mix my own fuel. But until then, I'll keep buying the Husky fuel. It's great saw. I'll always buy the Pro model saws. I have two of them. And then I also have a 455 Rancher, which is a great farm saw. Something I just throw in the back of the tractor and go bopping through the woods with. So something happens to that saw, I'm not too concerned. But the Pro models are just so much faster cutting and just so much better overall. It's just amazing what a big difference it makes. So. Can't think of a whole lot more. The chickens.
That's okay, Hypnosis.
Bees as well as the chickens.
Hey, Kai.
The chickens are kind of slowing down on their laying. I got 23 birds. I was getting, I guess, about 15 eggs a day. I'm down to 7 to 9 eggs a day. So they're not laying too much with the short days and the cold weather, and a lot of them going through their molt, so they're looking pretty funky, getting the feathers in and everything else. So, but other than that, that's about it. I'll send it back to you, CJ. Kitty 2 RFI.
This is KD2 and Net Control for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. Yeah, the 455 Rancher is a nice saw too. I've only used one of those very briefly, and I never got to cut any big logs with it. But yeah, that thing's a beast. It sounds like you don't carry any toys around as far as chainsaws go. Mine's a Husqvarna 440E, which is supposed to be a little bit more horsepower than the standard 440, and that's a great little saw for most of what I do. But there are definitely times I wouldn't mind having a monster saw for those bigger logs, or for when you're cutting lots of chunks of logs, because those bigger saws just have a tremendous amount of horsepower. And I did notice that as well. The fuel consumption on that one over at the other job is pretty intense. It goes through, I forget what the tank size is. It's probably, I don't know, it might be a pint, might be 2 pints, something like that. But you rip through that in half an hour, 40 minutes at the max. So definitely a little more of a fuel hog. Here I run, in Germantown, we can get 91 octane non-ethanol fuel. So I use that, and I use the Husqvarna 2-cycle mix. and that works pretty well. But I do notice, you know, I only go through about one or two 2.5 gallon tanks of 2-cycle fuel a year, and I do find by like maybe the 3rd or 4th month, the power in the saw is starting to drop there. So if I had a little bit more budget for it, I probably would just run the Husky fuel, because Dave K2JLV was telling me that's what he runs, and he swears by that stuff. And it's nice fuel. But let's see, we'll roll. Well, we'll do an opportunity for check-ins, and then we'll roll back up to Ken. This is KD2 at Control for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. If there's any further check-ins, please call now. Mom! Cha-cha. All right, no further check-ins recognized at this time. We'll roll back to the top list. KD2 TQS.
KD2 TQS pivot and switch. The other nice thing about the Stash brand, it comes in foil packets, so you can throw them in your backpack or briefcase or whatever, carry with you all the time, and they stay fresh. So that was one of the main reasons that I got that. So, to give you another topic, I read in the news today that there's been a new species of snake discovered. I was excited to read that, and I read the story, and here it comes, wait for the shoe drop. I'm going, oh, this is the same species that I read about in the European news magazines a week ago. So Americans are right up to date on all these ecological issues. So snakes been hiding in plain sight the entire time. Nobody ever recognized it. They've seen the snake, but never realized it was a whole separate species. So back to that.
Very interesting, very interesting. Well, isn't that the theme of the year for 2020? Secrets in plain sight. That's interesting. What's the name of the snake, if you recall?
Can't say that I recall the name. It was found in Vietnam. The main thing is it's iridescent. So how its scales are iridescent and reflect light back in a very bright pattern. How the heck has nobody ever seen this snake before?
Yeah.
Now granted, it lives under the leaves and hunting insects there, so you wouldn't see it all that often, but people have seen the snake before, they reported the snake before, but never been identified by science until just this year.
Oh yeah, that's fascinating. Actually, the iridescent scales. You would think that would have been one of the earlier discovered snakes. That's really interesting. Well, thank you as always for bringing your knowledge base to the chat or to the net. Anyway, so let's roll on down to KD2 RFI. I apologize, people. I'm a little bit scattered tonight.
KD2 RFI.
Confuzzled.
A
That's
little
it.
bit scattered is prime topic for me. I tend to let my mind wander a little bit, bounce from here to there, then left field, right field, and back to home base. So I'm always bouncing around, so that's fine. No, that new snake and new species, that's pretty cool. I did not hear from that, but then again, I also live in a little bit of a black hole. It just goes to show you, as much as we think we know about our world around us, there's a lot we don't know and a lot we haven't seen. So it definitely pays to be open-minded.
Hey, Jan Stevens.
And, sometimes just think outside the box a little bit, because, it kind of scares me to think if we're considered the smarter species. So, but, yeah, other than that, not a whole lot more. We'll bring, we get together over summer, we'll definitely bring that soul over, have a little fun, and see if we cut some stuff up, and then poke around the bees, and swap ideas, I guess. So that'd be pretty cool. All right?
Nice, John.
KD2 RFI back then.
Sounds like a plan to me. I look forward to it, and yeah, hopefully this whole ongoing pandemic thing will fade off into the distance, and we can go back to a semi-normal life. Although I'm starting to think that may be just an ongoing, ever-moving goal. But yeah, sounds like fun. All right, let's roll back up to Ken, KD2 TQS. Sounds like you're eating good, John.
Rolling back to one of the nets from a week, 2 ago. I have no sense of time anymore, so they can do 3 feet of concrete, what can they do with ELF over greater distances than that? And there was no auditory, nothing perceptible to humans at all because of the extremely low frequency range. Just dropping that back in on the old conversation. Back to them.
That's very interesting. I think I remember stumbling across something along those lines, but I didn't realize they were able to do it through concrete, and I guess I didn't really consider the implications or ramifications of that. But it makes me wonder this whole Bigfoot thing and some of these other species that are being discovered and studied a little bit more. Makes me wonder, if maybe they have similar capabilities and we just, not having the ability to receive those frequencies directly, we would need special instrumentation in order to detect them, even let alone appreciate the communication that they're doing. But that's interesting. Do you have any idea where that study was, or any sort of reference you can just kind of give us so we can look further into that at some point? Thanks, John. Appreciate it. And yes, the pandemic is helping localize farming.
I believe 20 years ago. It was an incredible
20 years ago.
Research magazine somewhere, but nothing on that. ELF communication actually is relatively well known in the animal kingdom. Not
I agree, Geeky.
More fully appreciated, but it's not as uncommon as people think. And that's where the elephants, when they did it, because they separated one from another for health reasons, and they noticed that they were still displaying social behaviors and other stuff. And wait, there's nobody here. They're in isolation. And that's when they keyed in off the ELF. They were still having active conversations between elephants back and forth. Got them looking at other animals and finding the same. And keep in mind, the problem with science is you can only find what you know to look for.
What you're aware of. Yep.
And especially the way we parse the science out and don't do pure research, we do narrow-based research. We miss wide swaths of the vast majority of what's going on out there. So, back to that.
Excellent points and well said. And that's really interesting. And it's true. It's you really only can study what you're aware of, and then there's a lot of I know Western society tends to have this reductionist mentality and always trying to isolate things in the system that they work in, and it doesn't really equate the same. So certainly we're missing lots of pieces. It seems like over time here our scientific perspective is slowly evolving, but seems to be pretty slow considering all the factors. But I don't want to leave Bob out of this conversation, and I will also do another opportunity for check-ins, but we'll roll on down to Bob for a moment here. KD2 RFI.
I'll try and keep it kind of quick, but I just kind of follow along with the chats on your live stream there, and Kiki Gardens kind of hit it right on the head where I was going to take it.
Welcome back, YT.
Hit it too a little bit, CJ. I wonder if we actually had those abilities at some point, but due to our quote-unquote superior intellect and reliance on technology, I wonder if we've kind of tuned those abilities out over time and kind of lost the ability to be closer in touch with nature, so to speak, and the sensitivities that we had, and so on and so forth. So I don't know, I'm just kind of wondering what your thoughts are on that. We look back hundreds of years ago, and people surviving these winters and everything else, and out there hunting, and always being able to find game, and for the most part, fight for the families or their tribes or the villages, or however you want to refer to it, and they survived all these years, and there had to be something more than what we got now. But nowadays, I know there we go hunting on all this high-tech gear, and we walk around all day and say, well, I didn't see a deer at all, but there had to be something where they were a little closer with nature and able to detect, or maybe a better understanding of where to hunt or whatnot. So I don't know, I'm just kind of rambling on a little bit there. So
good point,
Kiki. your thoughts on that. KD2RFI, man.
Yeah, I would say I completely agree with you, and I think we have what I like to call a superiority complex, where we think we know it all, and in doing that we have a lot of unconscious blind spots, and that actually prevents us from discovering and learning more. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Missing 411 series by David Paulides, and there's actually 2 books out. No, I'm sorry, there's like 7 or 8 books out. There's 2 movies out. I think the first one is Missing 411, and the second one I think is Missing 411 The Hunted. I highly recommend seeing Missing 411 The Hunted. He interviews a man named Ron Moorhead, who had a camp up in the very remote Sierra Mountains, and they encountered what they believe to be Bigfoot, and some of the communication skills that these things use, and their ability to vanish and move around, and their ability to perceive things is incredible. A lot of the people who've tried to put trail cams out and catch Bigfoot stuff on camera have been unsuccessful in doing so. The Bigfoot seem to be able to avoid trail cameras, and I don't know if they're detecting infrared or electronic sound or some frequency emission or what, but they seem to have a lot more skills than we do. And if you go back to the old First Nations and Native American legends, they claim that the Bigfoot are actually a tribe that basically went wild. And of course, no one's been able to verify that. I know that they did do some DNA studies. Someone was able to get a good hair sample, and a DNA test was done, and the DNA test came back. It was RNA was human female, and the male side was unknown species. So I don't know. I think that opens like 50 or 60 cans of worms all in one. KD2I and control, and I'll roll it back up to KD2 TK. Let me see if there's any further check-ins quick. So any further check-ins, please call now. That looks like a no, so we'll roll it back to Ken. KD2 TQS.
Safe. We were going to keep it safe, remember? One thing I'll put out there, just to pull it back a little bit, in a way, pull me back a little bit, so my brain doesn't run on. Back to your comment about the Western mindset and the rest. How old were you when you were told your imaginary friends aren't real?
Yep.
Fascinating.
Yeah, I was pretty young when I was told my imaginary friends weren't real, but for the limited memory that I have from those ages, I remember them being very real. So excellent point and perspective. And yeah, I'm sorry, I did open, well, I guess I opened a whole pallet of worms. So much for keeping it safe. We'll roll on over to KD2RFI. Bob, what are your thoughts?
Who the heck are you to tell me my imaginary friends aren't real? KD2RFI back then.
That's a very good point. Very good point. All right, we'll roll back up to Ken.
Yeah, right. Brain spinning, pinballing when I sat down, and going in lots of directions. What's amazing is, allegedly, we are at the top of the evolutionary chain, and we know that ontogeny recapitulates phylogeny, meaning that we go through, if you look at a fetus or embryo developing, it goes through the reptilian stage and then progresses up to mammalian and all the rest of it. Meaning we have all of that technology in there. Why can't we use it? There's many people who can deal on the frequencies. It's well proven that nonverbal communication is real. In fact, even in mass hysteria and other aspects like that. So there is plenty of information out there. It's just the bias. It's just the bias of presentation, and on that bias, I will say, as in the political realm right now, too extreme on both sides, and neither side is willing to meet in the middle and get a real analysis, real data, and real perception. That's it.
I will completely agree with that. And well, now we're in dangerous territory because you got my brain spinning and ping ponging all over too. A couple of points I want to make about that. Our human abilities, I think that all of our abilities and senses are not recognized. In fact, they're quite discounted in our modern society. But there is one book from a man named Stephen Buhner. In fact, Ken, you're probably aware of this given your wide range of information. It's called Plant Intelligence in the Imaginal Realm. And he talks about how our minds are kind of programmed over time from our experience, and how we have sort of gates and channels, and we can go back if we kind of focus on it and pay attention to it and kind of reprogram our minds to be more open to these sorts of things. And it's really amazing how you can tune into it. I know one thing I've kind of learned over the past few years is I've been studying the paranormal a little bit more, as well as plants, farming, ecology, regenerative agriculture, and on down the wide range. I've really found that I've been able to open up my intuition a little bit more and dial into it a little bit more, and that's made me a little more sensitive to things going on around me. And man, that is really it's almost like a high bandwidth version of sensing your environment. So I don't know, that's my 2 cents on it, and we'll roll it over to Bob, KD2 RFI.
Being a little more sensitive to your environment. Over the years of, you always had high-speed internet, HD TV, and this and that and everything else. And I'm kind of going back to the basics for the most part. Now where I live, I don't have the high-speed internet. I got satellite internet, which is a real pain. It's slow and it's unreliable. It's definitely, I'm sitting here looking at the live stream on my computer right now, and I'm probably 10 or 20 minutes behind as it refreshes. So from where we are now to where the live stream is, I'm easily 10 minutes behind, which is pretty normal. So I just kind of use it to follow the comments. But being in the black hole, it's kind of a good thing because I definitely pay more attention to what's out and around me. And my girls call me out on it all the time. I'll pull in the driveway. I've got an extremely long driveway. And as soon as I pull in, I tell my girls, I said, somebody was here today. And they ask me why. I said, well, look, the gravel's different. It's kind of weird that you pick up on these slight things, but if you're more in tune to your environment and you're not so focused on all this other stuff going around you, granted that's a physical in tune, you're seeing physical changes in the environment, but I think that applies to the same across the board. Is you don't have so much distracting you where you're more aware of your surroundings and what's going on around you, and you're not paying attention to all this electronic stuff, so you're able to tune in more. So I don't know, just whether it's directly related or not, I just figured I'd throw that out there, which is something pretty interesting. So KD2 RFI, back to net.
And this is KD2 IIN Net Control for the Sunday night, all things natural net. Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Bob. And one thing I've noticed too is I've had people comment, and I wasn't even aware of it myself, but I'm a very observant person, and many times I've had people, I'm in tune to my environment, in tune to what's going on. I try to pay attention to details, and oftentimes I'll notice something, and I'll notice it and comment to someone, and they'll say, "Oh wow, I didn't even notice that." And I've had several people say, "Wow, you're so observant." And I don't know what that comes from. Maybe that's from my scientific mind, or just always being interested in and studying things. But yeah, there's definitely multiple levels of tuning you can do there and being aware. And certainly this whole smartphone, computer, this immersion in technology, I really think that that's detuning our senses and detuning our ability to pay close attention to things and to think through problems too. But very interesting perspective on that. Let's roll on over to KD2 TQS. Cha-cha. Do a trip, cha-cha.
Slowing my brain, gathering my thoughts. That said, where are most of the mystics, mentors, all of the prolific people? They're not hanging out in New York City. They're typically classically on the mountaintop or deep in the woods or the rest of them. The shamans in most societies did not live in the villages. They lived just outside.
Yep.
When I was in South America working with the people down there, my guide was a shaman, and we worked with others. When the villagers came in from deep in the bush, you could see their psychological disorientation. And the city is not a big city down there. Very small, very, very rural, definitely third world, but they were blown out by the amount of energy that was coming at them from what you would get in
Lollipop game.
would be equivalent to a village in rural Maine or rural Nevada or something like that. They're so in tune with the environment and so sensitive that even routine, normal, small city blows them out.
Yep.
And there was one or two that we worked with. You could see that, and it took them time to acclimatize. Not only be in the village, in the city for a day or two before they have to leave to regain their senses. Back to them.
KD2 and Net Control, the Sunday night, all things natural net. Well, I couldn't agree more with that. Yeah, I've noticed that as well. I've been to New York City probably 5 or 6 times, and I know when I've been down there, I just feel overloaded down there. It just completely overloads me, and I have this like anxiety. I just want to get out of there, and it just I never attributed it to that, but that makes a lot of sense. Maybe it's just I'm so used to this rural environment that it's just total sensory overload, and just the sights and sounds and concrete and all that commotion and bustle that's going on overloads me. But it also makes me wonder, on other levels, am I being overloaded energetically in levels I'm not necessarily consciously aware of? But very interesting perspective. Let's roll on down to Bob, KD2 RFI. Takes my...
KD2 RFI. Yeah, I'm definitely not the city type person. My girls wanted to go there years ago, and it was definitely overwhelming.
I bet YT.
Ended up getting
trees are nice.
Getting a little altercation down there, so which was good on my side of it, but it was kind of crazy. It was just way too much going on, way too much, and I avoid that place like the plague. I don't mind COVID. I'll take that, once a week, but I want nothing to do with the city or the large
New York City, if that's what you're asking.
Populated areas. But I got 4.5 years left, and then I'll be retiring. And hopefully, once that happens, it will be nothing sounding like New York or even close to it. So I'm gonna kind of do what that song says, and this young man's gonna head west. Riches and gold, or at least a big piece of property in a little cabin. Get more in touch with nature and my environment, my surroundings, and hopefully learn something old by getting my hands dirty, so to speak. I think you'll probably know that reference.
I know where that comes from.
All right. With that, I'm going to punch out for the evening. 5 a.m. is going to come early for me, and unfortunately, I got to keep working towards my last 4.5 years to get the flock out of here. So, wishing everyone 7-3 and have a good night. KD2 RFI back in there.
Sounds good, Bob. I can totally relate, and I'm looking more and more to somewhere west or deeper in the woods. This area even is starting to become kind of overgrown, but I hope you have a good evening. I hope you have a good work week ahead, and I hope those next 4.5 years goes nice and quick for you. And you can always get the HF gear out once you get out into the wilderness and touch base with us from time to time if you feel the inkling. I hope you have a great evening, and we'll roll back over to Ken and pick up Ken's final comments, and then we'll go ahead and wrap the ribbons on this. KD2 TQS, pick it up.
All right, I'll pick that up since my search is not working. One of my favorite quotes that I used to have, I forget whether it's Wadsworth, Longfellow, or somebody else. So I was looking up who it was from, but who said it isn't as important as the message. Drop.
I've heard that, and I forget who said it too, and I think you're right. It's more important to get the message. So thank you for your insight and thoughts, and thank you for your ever-inspiring comments that always bring out such awesome conversations, Ken. I really appreciate your participation and your thoughts and your brilliance in your mind. So thank you very much. I'm going to go ahead and close the net up now, and we'll put the ribbons on this. This is KD2IIN Net Control for the Sunday night All Things Natural Net. Let's see, we got a couple announcements. Every day at 8:35 a.m. and 6:30 p.m. The OMARC Daily Net runs. It's just a general local check-in net for people to kind of congregate, check in, see how things are going here in the Hudson Valley. Then Thursday nights at 8 p.m. is the Thursday Night Net. That's run by Dave, K2JLV. That's a more technically oriented net related to amateur radio, HF radios, DMR, how to build antennas, all that kind of stuff. That's an excellent net as well, so I hope you'll check that out. And then, of course, tonight you've been listening to or participating in the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net, run by yours truly, KD2IIN. And I guess that's it for announcements. So at this time, this net returns this repeater to regular amateur use. If you want to know more about our club or more about our nets, you can always visit our website at www.omarcclub.org. That's whiskey Oscar Mike Alpha Romeo Charlie Charlie Lima Uniform Bravo Oscar Romeo Golf. Thanks to everyone who participated, and we'll say 7-3s. Hope you all have a great weekend. Happy New Year, and we'll see you in the new year. Here's to better 2021. KD2IIN will be clear. 7-3s. That was a good net. Thank you, Geeky, for sharing links. Greatly appreciate it. Anyone have any questions or comments to wrap this up before I carry us out of here? Also, I hope you guys will go over and check out, I think Paranormal Portal is live tonight at 10. So go check that out with Brent Thomas. It's a channel that just studies all sorts of paranormal things, and excellent community over there. So I hope you go and check that out as well. I'm just going to try and catch up on the comments here quick before I wrap this up. See, Robert Hayes came in. Thank you for coming in, Robert Hayes. Good night, Bob. Thanks for coming in. And let's see, Smokin' Joe. Always enjoy listening to the Sunday show, but if I were to be honest, I have context. Why the radio? Where are they? Topics. Okay, so the radio is an amateur radio, and we have what's called an amateur radio repeater here, which is basically a place on top of a very high point, and that retransmits our signal so we can connect over a much wider geographic area. And our repeater actually has a tremendous coverage area. So if you go to our website, I think there's a map on our website that shows the coverage area of the Overlook Mountain Amateur Radio Repeater, but it is a tremendous area. So that allows us to connect multiple stations together. And I started running this net before I started live streaming it. I just started live streaming it because I thought it was a great way to share amateur radio and our discussion in the amateur radio community with a greater audience. So if you look into amateur radio, there's more about that. I do have a video on my channel here called, I think it's 5 or 10 reasons to get your ham license, your amateur radio license. If you have not seen that, you should go check that out. It's really an excellent community, and I've met so many really intelligent people and had so many really awesome discussions on amateur radio. So I hope that kind of answers your question, and you'll check it out some more. And let's see. I've been good, YT. I've been good. Yeah, I've definitely been busy. You're right, Cha-Cha. Your comment is always the coolest. Let's see. And let's see. Robert Hayes says, what kind of sunflower pollen is best for curing Nozima and honeybees? I don't know, but if you go to a Canadian beekeeper's blog and look up Nozima sunflower, just look up Nozima sunflower in the search inside of his channel. I'm sure you'll come across it. And in fact, I think I shared that link on the. I just had Ian Stepler on last week as a guest on Comrades and Farms. So you can always check out Comrades and Farms, the most recent video. I think it's probably the video right before this. I don't think I put anything else up since then. So you could check that out. But there is more information. He links an article from his video. So if you follow back to his video, you'll find an article from there, and that goes into greater depth on it. I don't think the sunflower type is necessarily important. I think it's more about the quality of the soil that the sunflowers are grown in, which equates to the quality of the pollen. And of course, that goes back to soil biology and a whole complex ecosystem thing. Anyway, I'm glad you like it, Smokin' Joe. Thank you very much. Geeky, thank you again for sharing the links. Thank you for everyone who came in and participated. Thank you, Robert. Yeah, it was a great interview. Ian is just a wealth of knowledge. I was really honored to have him on my show. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. So everyone have a great evening. Thank you for coming in and watching the stream and participating. Greatly appreciate it. I hope you all have a great evening, and I wish you all a happy new year. Here's to a better 2021, huh? Let's hope that's the case. Everyone, have a great evening. Thanks for watching the Farmacy Seeds Network.